This is KGW News at noon.
Our top story today, a deadly pileup on I-5 near Eugene, and the weather may have caused it. Let's get you right to photos of this crash. It involved at least 15 to 20 semis and 45 cars. One person died. Right now, all southbound lanes of I-5 are closed at milepost 216 north of Eugene, and they're expected to stay closed for most of the day. ODOT is detouring traffic onto Highway 99 East and is warning drivers about heavy fog along the I-5 corridor. They say that did contribute to multiple crashes this morning. So anybody traveling on I-5 southbound will have to get off the freeway at the Halsey-Brownsville exit. For more on those terrible travel conditions, we want to check in with meteorologist Joe Ranieri.
Yeah, Brenda, we saw some dense fog earlier this afternoon up and down the I-5 corridor and throughout much of the metro area. Dense fog advisory has expired, but you can see the visibility right now. It's not all that great, although it has improved since we chatted during the Sunrise Show. At one point, about 5:30, 6 o'clock this morning, visibility was down to under a quarter of a mile. And right now we're starting to see it improve a little bit. Down in Eugene, visibility is at 3 miles. But again, we'll start to see these low clouds kind of lift a little bit. Now we're focusing on the air stagnation advisory, or the air quality warning rather, that's going to be in effect heading into the rest of today and much of tomorrow as well. We have smoke and haze getting filtered in. You combine that with a dense fog, the poor air is just going to sit over us. I can show you a couple of live cameras real quick. This is out in the reserve in Aloha, where some of those low clouds are starting to burn off a little bit. 64 degrees. Your best bet, though, if you can avoid being outdoors, is to stay inside, because we are going to be seeing that air quality on the unhealthy category here over the next couple of days. And here's a live look now from our Rose City camera. You can make out the West Hills right now, but earlier this morning you couldn't because of that smoke and haze. And I want to show you the air quality map real quick. You can see all these red dots throughout much of the metro area. That is the unhealthy category. Earlier this morning it was the very unhealthy category, but again, we need some rain to really improve the air out there, and that's not going to be coming for another couple of days. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Joe. Emergency services officials in Clark County just gave us a briefing about the Nakia Creek fire northeast of Camas. Happening right now, media is getting a first look at that area. At a press conference within the last hour, we did learn the fire has burned just over 1,800 acres so far. Crews have it 12% contained and are working on extending those containment lines. Authorities are also reducing the areas under evacuation.
So there's some updates on our end for as far as evacuations go today for the evacuation zones. Some changes are coming out right now to the ArcGIS website, and they'll be coming out over the cresta911.org, the blog, the official source to put that information out. So it'll significantly lessen the areas affected by the level 3 evacuation. So they'll be able to get people, especially off like Livingston Mountain and some of the areas of Lessard, back into their homes. And then they're going to change from levels 1, 2, and 3 to just go into levels 2 and 3 evacuation zones.
We also want to show you this photo. Investigators released it. They want to talk to the people seen in that light-colored Subaru. It was parked in a clearing close to where the fire started October 9th. Authorities say the people they're looking for may have been lighting off fireworks. Well, in light of all the smoke in the air that we've been talking about, health officials do want you to take precautions. They suggest staying indoors just as much as possible. And when you do go outside, avoid strenuous activity. It's also a good idea to wear an N95 or P100 mask. Your cloth mask will not filter out harmful particulates. And here is one more piece of advice from Dr. James Polo, the Executive Medical Director for Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oregon.
If you're going to be using any kind of an air conditioner or any kind of a portable air cleaner, you want to make sure the filters are clean and they're replaced regularly. And you want to make sure it's functioning correctly so that it's recirculating the air.
You can check the daily air quality index online if you go to airnow.gov. No classes today at Jefferson High School following a shooting near campus. The gunfire broke out late yesterday, injuring 2 students. KGW's Alma McCarty reports from the scene.
30 minutes after the final bell at Jefferson High on Tuesday, jarring sounds rattled students and witnesses nearby.
I first thought it was firecrackers, so help me God. When I heard the pop, and then pop, 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 and then I was able to gauge the intensity, and I knew that was gunshots.
Charles Daniel Coleman said students quickly ran into the building, with police arriving not long after.
Before 4 p.m., and school was already out, there was a shooting near the gym.
Officers on scene found one male student inside the school shot in the leg. They said he was shot outside before running in. PPB also got a report that a bullet may have grazed a second student's hand, but they're still working to confirm that information. Investigators marked 3 bullet strikes on the side of the Jefferson High gym. No one else was hurt.
It's sad. It's heartbreaking, knowing that this is someone young, a youth, who has so much life and so much potential, and we have all this gun violence and they out to kill one another, and we have to find a different way, a different answer for this.
Maurice Fain and Daryl Turpin headed to the crime scene as soon as they heard the news.
Child walked up to us, or was in a car, and was like, "Did someone get hit?" And you could just see in his eyes the astonishment, that the state of trauma that he was in, just wondering, did someone die? Did someone get hit? And I'm thinking about, how is that going to affect that child, even though he wasn't a part of the shooting scene.
Police have not named a suspect, but say many students were in the area at the time of the shooting, so they're hoping for more witnesses to come forward.
And I hope that nobody was injured seriously to the point of they can't recover. But let's stop the madness, and let's not get that spirit here.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Now to Vancouver, where police are asking for the public's help to solve a hit and run. They believe street racers caused a crash that killed a loving grandfather. Jerry Plato's family told us he was driving for DoorDash when the crash happened October 1st. He was near Northeast St. John's Road and 99th Street when a Corvette hit him. His car flipped, pinning him underneath. Plato died in the hospital a few days later, leaving behind a wife, 4 children, and 16 grandchildren.
It's horrifying, and I keep waiting to wake up. But I don't think there's a word that can even describe the loss that myself and my whole family feels. He was very, very involved with the kids, and especially the grandkids. He did special things with all of them, and so it's pretty hard to take, especially in a senseless way that it happened.
Investigators identified one driver and say that person will face charges. Police are still looking for the driver of the second car seen in this photo. It is blurry, but they believe it may be a Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. If you know anything about this crime, you're asked to contact the Clark County Sheriff's Office. Election Day coming up on Tuesday, November 8th, and today the U.S. Postal Service started delivering ballots in Oregon. To count, they must be returned and postmarked by Election Day. Now, it is too late to register to vote here in Oregon, but over in Washington, voters have until October 31st to register online or by mail. They can also register in person at their county elections office through 8 o'clock election night. And if you text the word VOTE to 503-226-5088, we will send you a link to our voters guide. There you can find information about candidates, policies, and elections. Well, tonight, KGW and the Oregonian are hosting the final gubernatorial debate. It is a critical opportunity for voters to see where those candidates stand on the important issues. We talked with John Horvick from DHM Research. Last month, they released a poll commissioned by the Oregonian. It showed Republican Christine Drazen leading with 32%, Democrat Tina Kotek had 31%, and Betsy Johnson, who's running unaffiliated, was in third with 18%. More recent polling shows those numbers are holding steady.
I think the race is very close. And so, moving 1 or 2% of the voters in your direction could be all the difference of winning or losing the election.
Horvick reminds us almost half of voters polled were either undecided or they said they're just kind of leaning toward a certain candidate. He says the data shows undecided voters may be most interested in how those candidates debate on key issues, and one of the big ones is homelessness. Our debate airing tonight at 7 p.m. KGW again hosting with the Oregonian. You can watch it live on all of our platforms, including our website and KGW Plus, which you'll find on Roku or the Fire TV app. You can also text the word election to 503-226-5088 for a link to our coverage online. You'll get our voters guide again, reminding you one more time with the details on the top races in Oregon and in Portland.